And the irony is, at Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals at the Lenovo Center, the subject of our football at 4 was having himself a heck of a time. Xavier Legette, about to be a second-year wide receiver for the Carolina Panthers, has been everywhere this offseason. He was at the Kentucky Derby. He was in the schedule release video. He was at Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals. The surprising, if you saw the mic'd up video that went a little viral today, he was up against the glass, and let's just say I don't think he had been that close to a hockey game because the puck hitting the glass scared him. He was laughing. His hat was falling off his head. He has been everywhere. Star, I guess you could say. He's got a star quality. Is he ready to be a star on the field and production as well? What is that guy's role? Right? What are you when you're a late first-round pick that underwhelms as a rookie, maybe injuries playing a part, that underwhelms as a rookie, and then they use a high first-round pick on your same position? Right? Because Xavier Legette, what was he, the last pick of the first round 2 drafts ago? This year, Tetairoa McMillan, 8th overall pick, also to the same team, the Carolina Panthers out of Arizona. What's his role? It could be confusing, by the way. Wide receiver is not one of those positions that you can't have multiple studs. So it's not like Josh Rosen being picked 10th and then the next year Kyler Murray being picked number 1, right? Because quarterbacks, it's like, oh, your spot was just taken. Wide receiver, you can be friends with your competitors, right? It's not a one person town. And
the nice thing is about like that position is that you could play the same position, be listed the same spot, but you play the game 2 different ways. Like that position is built to have multiple different styles, I guess you could say.
And you can see it across the league. There's Jamar Chase, there's T. Higgins, there's Tyreek Hill, there's Jalen Waddle, there's Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, right? These are all on the same teams across the league. But you got to find the fit, right? If you're doing the same thing, it's not going to work, right? If you are doing or there's not space for both of you or whatever, if you both want to make the same catches, that's not going to work. So what's the role for Xavier Legette? Because obviously someone is comfortable trying to make this guy a star, so they better be able to back it up on the field. I have 2 examples of my dream role for Xavier Legette this year, with the acknowledgement that there's going to be a fairly gigantic role for McMillan. Okay, so when you draft somebody 8th overall, usually it's not like, oh, we drafted somebody 8th so we can mold him into fitting our system. When you draft somebody 8th overall as a wide receiver, a lot of times it's we're going to put him at the wide receiver group and mold everybody else to get the most out of him because that's a super high pick for a wide receiver. So with the acknowledgement that McMillan is going to have a role and it's going to be fairly large, I think Xavier Legette's ideal role is Brian Thomas Jr. last year for the Jags. Or 2 years ago, Nico Collins' role from Houston. And I'll give you the kind of genesis of this. Last year, Brian Thomas Jr. was 3rd in the NFL in receiving yards. I think sometimes it's, a good season with the Jacksonville Jaguars is like a tree in the woods. You don't know if it happened because there was no one there to watch it. Brian Thomas Jr. was 3rd in the NFL in receiving yards. But here's my favorite part about it. He was 16th in receptions. He was 16th in targets. Right? So he was hunting big plays. They were hunting big plays with him. Nico Collins 2 years ago in Houston. Last year he battled injuries and with Tank Dell's injury and their offensive line stunk. There was a bunch of stuff going on there. But 2 years ago in Houston, he was 8th in receiving yards. Nico Collins was 8th in the NFL. He was 23rd in receptions. He was 30th in targets. 30th in targets, 8th in receiving yards. That's what I want for Xavier Legette. I don't want him running whip routes. I don't want him running 3-yard fake ins, breaking out to the sideline on 2nd and 2 to make a catch and get out of bounds with a gain of 4 so you can keep the chains moving. Let Hunter Renfrow do that. Renfrow made a living off of that when he was in the league a couple years ago with the Raiders. I don't need him winning jump balls. I don't need him making contested catches. Talk about Xavier Legette. I actually think McMillan would not want anyone else taking those opportunities. He's like, I'm 6'4 plus and I jump like a volleyball player. If we're throwing a jump ball, it better be to me. But do you know what Legette has that nobody else in that wide receiver room has? A sub-4 440 time. Nobody else in that wide receiver room can go like he can go when it's just picking them up and putting them down. I don't think this is a guy that needs to get 10 catches a game to be effective. I think he's somebody that needs to get 4 catches a game, and one of them is going to be a game changer. That's where he fits in, and that's why it makes sense to bring in somebody like McMillan. Because I think McMillan does need volume, right? He's a strider. He's open even when he's not open. If you need 10 third downs in a game converted, he can give you 6 of them by himself. That's McMillan's role. Legette's going, I don't know if I'm going to give you 6 third downs, but there's going to be a couple play actions that I can give you 60 yards on one play. And that is more and more and more becoming what the NFL is about. And especially if Dave Canales is running the offense he wants to run. And what I mean by that is building things around the running game. Building things around. There's only so many targets to go around when you're handing it to your running back a whole bunch of times in each game, which you hope will happen more and more as the team develops because you'll be ahead in some games. So you don't have to throw your way back into it so darn often. And by the way, that role I just described for Xavier Legette, it does turn you into a star. People like big plays, right? What do they say? Fans dig the long ball. It's baseball saying, but it's also true in an offense. If you're like, I don't know, every time Xavier Legette catches it, it's for 25 yards. Like, that's going to endear him to the crowd.
I want to see Xavier Legette this season. I think having that procedure on his foot, he had a screw placed in his foot. He talked about his body's feeling better. Mm-hmm. Like you mentioned, that speed, that ability to have yards after the catch, the playmaking ability. Like, hey, you know what? I could take an 8-yard crossing route over the middle of the field, and I can catch and turn up the field. I'm just physically bigger and faster than the defensive back that's trying to chase me. Mm-hmm. And I can turn that 8-yard crossing route into, like you said, a 25-yard gain, or maybe make it into a 30, 40-yard gain. Take it to the house, get a big play touchdown. Like we saw him in the red zone last year get some touchdowns, which was good to see. But, yeah, I want to see the yards after the catch. And I think, like we talked about at the beginning, is that McMillan and Legette play the same position, but they play it in different ways, and those two ways have to complement each other this year so much.
And actually, a perfect example, those goal line touchdowns that he scored last year were good to see because you like to see your guys just, scoring touchdowns.
Sure.
I do think those specific are reps that the first read in those plays will be McMillan this year, right? His skill set lends itself towards red zone. Like if Legette's going to score touchdowns, they might have to come from outside the red zone this year at a much higher rate, and that's what he promised. Like that's the prospect he was. And then next offseason he can come back and we can teach him more about hockey, right? Then he's even bigger. He's an even bigger star when the Canes are in the postseason next year and he's in the building to watch. And he's now everybody wants his autograph. By the way, I did check. He was down up against the glass. We were up in the media. I did look down a few times. He was signing the autographs that he was doing the fan thing, which was good. Happy to see it. Making new fans. Dennis is talking a lot, and his microphone is not on.
No, it's not
there
on. It
go.
is now. I say it looked like he was having a heck of a time.
Yeah,
it really was. If Bleacher Report had it, I know the Canes posted it on their social media today as well, but just go watch the clip. I think the most fun part was when William Carrier for the Carolina Hurricanes cross-checked Etu Luostarinen and is basically wrapped his stick around Luostarinen because Carrier's stick just shattered when he cross-checked him. That was right in front of Legette, and Legette was already bugging out over something that just happened, and then that took place right in front of him. Just the reaction was it was priceless. It was wonderful.
It is. He's really likable.
He really is.
It's just some people have it, right? They walk into the room and everyone's just rooting for you. Everybody just wants them to win.